Rob and I own Dakota Plains Energy and Dakota Plains Commercial Real Estate here in Aberdeen, and we have been, I guess we've owned those for about 15 years probably. Yeah. We've always been family business.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in one, so did I, obviously same one. That was Grandpa, when did he buy?
When did he buy it?
Yeah.
Oh, 64.
1964. And you bought him out in 89,
maybe? I don't know, 88? I don't remember.
88, 89.
Yeah,
okay.
I worked there all the way through high school and college. So yeah, I'm very good at sweeping floors and collecting garbage.
And then I started working there as well at 13. Started riding my bike over and sweeping floors and collecting garbage. And then 14 started driving a delivery truck, and then went to college. And when I was gone, he sold to corporate. Went to Minnesota where he began selling franchises, and then he began his commercial real estate jobs. And I was in grad school at the time, and owned a bar during grad school, which I would not recommend. And then, so that was, I guess, my first business on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got up to Minnesota and started joining him in the commercial real estate, then we were with a franchise company up there, and then we broke free and we're on our own. And then I moved back to Aberdeen to pursue the wind project that we were working on, and then decided to start doing commercial real estate here as well. And so we ran both parallel paths, and we've had, I have no idea how many businesses we've started over the years now, because we've a lot of project-based businesses. So a lot of them are just LLCs that own a specific project, piece of property, land that we're going to develop, whatever it is. But the energy side, we create LLCs project-based as well. So we will, let's say a project, the one that is closest here is Campbell County Wind Farm. So we started Campbell County Wind Farm LLC and began the project. And so then we ended up ultimately doing a membership or interest purchase agreement where they buy out the LLC, because the LLC had all the assets, including all the leases and everything else. So they buy it out, and we walk away at that point. Well, we were doing real estate, and so the real estate side, we just saw the opportunity. I mean, that was pretty much it. You know, there was a need, and same thing when we got back to Aberdeen. There was definitely a hole. I had no intention of doing commercial real estate when I moved back to Aberdeen. We were just going to work on the energy projects, and we bought some property on our own, and weren't really worried about working for anybody else or having any clients or anything like that. And it kind of slowly started. I noticed that there wasn't a specialist for commercial real estate in Aberdeen at the time, and so we decided, well, maybe we should start getting into this a little bit. So it started off slowly, and then it just kind of grew from there. And now we tend to typically average about 85% market share. The energy side, we were working with some guys in the commercial real estate business, and one of them had an uncle who was up in the Bakken area of North Dakota, and his uncle had signed up his land, and their neighbors had signed up land for a wind farm, and the company ended up pulling out. And so they called this gentleman that worked with us and said, hey, do you know anybody, and do you know anybody that wants to maybe build a wind farm? Well, it turned out that one of our other associates, his college roommate for the U of M, was working for a large company that did energy out of Houston.
Yeah.
So we kind of got together with them and decided we were going to be the land people and they were going to be the energy side. And so we kind of got drug along with it. We didn't really intend to get into it all the way on the beginning. But then they kind of wanted to run things themselves, and we had learned enough that we thought we could be dangerous. So we went out and just put it on our website that we were able to do these types of things, and got a call from the economic development director in Campbell County, South Dakota, and they had received a MET tower, which is a meteorological tower. It's for measuring wind speeds and things like that. from the state. It was a used one, and he wanted to know if I'd be willing to take a look at their county. And I said, sure. So them with some sighting, and then we started working on getting the lease. So we hired an attorney to draft up a land lease, and then we went ahead and started signing up landowners. And once we got the landowners signed, we started trying to figure out how we were going to fund this thing. And that's when he had the call and the meeting with the gal, and got started. We met with him over, I don't know how many trips it took, so many trips to Minnesota to meet with this guy, and finally said, okay, I'm in.
Well, let me start just with my career a little bit.
Sure.
As I mentioned earlier, I learned over here on punch cards. That's COBOL. That's how I learned. So I was the smartest kid in the neighborhood, which didn't know much. Anyway, I went to work for my father's automotive parts business, and back then everything was manual. We had over 200,000 stock keeping units, but everything was manual on cards. And the company, a national company called CarQuest, decided to get into a point of sale system, and they were looking for some guinea pig, so to speak. So we got the third computer system in the country.
So on the real estate side, the technology, obviously, everybody's, you have to make your websites, mobile friendly and all, mobile optimized, all that other stuff. And we worry about what our search engine optimization is, and obviously our social media presence and things like that. That's how we advertise. We also, we use different programs. There's a couple of different national commercial websites that essentially pull from our website. They will pull our listings up, and so we can market nationally. And so that's really the extent of it. We don't use a ton of technology in the real estate side. I mean, we do, but we don't. It's nice. We can use county websites to look up who owns what and get basic information without having to drive down the county. And I mean, obviously, our cell phones are fully in use all the time, and I can do about everything from that, which is nice because when I'm driving around, I can do what I need to do. But it's the energy side is where we see the most technology for ourselves. Really, we do a lot of sighting work, so we use Google Earth I don't really use it for sighting anymore. That's not very useful for sighting because I can't tell who owns what anything. But we have a program that shows me every transmission line in the United States. So I can turn that on, and I can overlay projects or project ideas or thoughts about locations onto it, and it will show me distance and what transmission lines are there. It doesn't show me capacity, so I don't know that, but it'll tell me how far I have to go to the different transmission lines, where the substations are, things like that. And then we use a program called Transect. It's essentially a desktop environmental study is what it is, but it also is tied in with ArcGIS. So we're able to see all of the landowners, which that makes it a very good tool for me to essentially prospect for new locations. So like we do, click each individual owner, build a KMZ essentially, and then I can use that to run an environmental study. I can look at flood zones, I can look at slope, I can look at how much solar irradiation there is. It works for wind too. I can look at wind speeds, things like that, anywhere in the country. And so it's a very useful tool for me. I use it all the time.
It makes us very efficient compared to the old way.
Right. The old way was a lot of hand maps, and we'd get plat maps
books,
from
and
the counties, and we'd order them, and then we had big maps that we had on the wall, and they were laminated. They're made for farmers so they can track what they're planting in each of their fields. But we would have them just take the whole county, and then we would tape them all together and put them on the wall, and then we would use a marker and mark in the land that we thought we should go chase. Or if we got it, we'd color code everything. Yeah. Well, now I don't do any of that anymore. It's all on the computer. It's much more simple and fast.
Buckle up.
Well, so pick something you want to do. Don't pick what you think is the best for money.
Or
the money will follow.
What's the most fun.
Yes, I mean, there's definitely fun things.
No, but I mean, you can't say, I want to do this because it looks fun.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. We've had lots of people tell us, I'm going to buy this franchise, and it's because that way I can play golf all the time, or I'm going to buy this business so I can play golf all the time. My employees will just run it, and it's like, you're going to fail. You have to be willing to put in the time, the effort. It is, it's definitely a labor of love, and be aware that you're going to work odd hours, and because the buck stops with you. I mean, if you don't make money, there's no money to have at the end of the month. And so I find, I wish some days I could go back to 40 hours a week. I have no idea how many hours a week I work. I always say if my phone's on, I'm working. But truthfully, when we're busy, I will be at my desk sometimes till 10, 11, 12 at night, and getting stuff done. And then certain days, I don't have anything on my schedule, and I do go play golf. So there's some upsides to it, definitely, but it's up to you. You can't rely on anybody else. No one's going to bring the customers in other than you. And so my advice is to make sure you know what you're signing up for, and be aware that it's not all, sunshine and rainbows.
The other part is to be prepared as far as capital. Everything costs way more than you think. Absolutely.
And it's going to take longer than you think.
Yeah, because you can say, okay, here's my business plan. Isn't this pretty? And I take it and say, okay, that's nice. And I'll go double it or more. And we've run into that in businesses we've done. It's a process. It's not like you're going to get rich tomorrow. Everybody hears about somebody hit a home run right off the bat. Well, that's what everybody wants to hear. The truth is far from it.
Right. There's a lot of failures out there, and it's okay to fail. I mean, especially if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, do it when you're young. There's the cost of failure is very low when you're young. That's why I bought a bar when I was in grad school.